Welcome to another fantastic, today, kinky episode of My Orgasmic Life. I'm your hostess, Gaia Morrissette, and today we're going to talk about CBT. And I just want to do a little bit of content warning so that everybody's like, what? I do not mean cognitive behavioral therapy. I mean cockballtorture. Okay? So, here's your content warning. If you're like, oh, abort mission, too much today, Gaia, too much, then I lovingly will not be offended. Off you go, and listen to another episode. That's more in line with you. All right. So, the reason we're doing this conversation is because a friend of mine, so here's a little story. So last week, I'm hanging out with a friend of mine. We're doing our social distance visit, and she's like, tells me she's like, her and her boyfriend are, thinking about starting to explore CBT, cockballtorture. And I'm like, oh, that's awesome. Right on. I'm like, would you like me to teach you how to do that? And she's so funny. My friend is so funny. I love her. She's so quirky. But she says to me, she's like, oh, but I hate asking you for advice. I don't want to take advantage of you. And I laugh, and I'm like, well, this is the benefit. Like, I'm offering, like, this is the benefit of being friends with me. So you get to be able to say, hey, how do I do CBT safely? She's like, well, do you have a podcast? You must have done a podcast on this topic. So I'm like, no. So you all have her to thank for this episode. She's like, well, do a podcast and they'll listen to the podcast. So this is a shout out to her. All right. All right. So CBT stands for cockballtorture. And if you're like, why would anybody want to do this? Why would anybody want to be on the receiving end of this? Why would anybody want to do this? It doesn't sound sexy. So I'm going to lean into a couple of those things. It's a much bigger topic. So I can't cover everything, but I'm going to cover some key points of like what it is, why, some of the emotional motivators behind it, and how to do it safely. And I think that's the biggest thing if you take away about like, there's the fantasy of it and then there's the reality. So let's start with safety stuff first. No, actually, let's start with why somebody might enjoy it. So there's a couple different aspects. There's the taboo of it. In a lot of kink, there's a lot of taboo stuff that is why it's arousing. So, there's a taboo, like you don't go around kicking boys in the balls. Like you're taught not to do that. All right. Like that's a no. I know, because I used to do it. All of us used to do it when we were kids. And then we're told we're not supposed to do that. So there's that piece of it. Me personally, I think that's actually the biggest piece of why I enjoy actually giving CBT is because it goes against all of my programming. It's like, you're not supposed to do that. It's so wrong. And then I get to laugh in a very evil, and it appeals to my sexual sadist self. And I'm like, because I love doing things I'm not allowed to do. So that's my motivator anyways of why I enjoy that process. The motivation I think of on the receiving end of it is that one, there's different degrees of CBT, right? And so some of it's just sensory exploration, right? There's the in-depth sensory experience. So more pressure, more sensations, more, okay? That's one aspect. The second aspect of why people might enjoy receiving it is the fact that there's a little bit of the fear factor, right? Like, it's going to hurt. It's, what if you hurt me? There's the danger factor, which creates arousal response. So that's another piece of it. And then there's the humiliation factor, which is another aspect of kink and power exchange and BDSM and all those kind of things. So those are like the three big ones of why people would like to receive it. And, you know, the big ones of the person, you know, for people of why they would like to give it is one, the taboo, you're not supposed to. Two, the pure enjoyment out of hurting somebody and making them uncomfortable. See, you were talking about I'm getting joy out of it. I'm not even doing it right now. So that's what happens when I do CBT is I do it and then I laugh like that. And then I do it and then I laugh like that. So that's my piece. So the taboo of it, the enjoying hurting someone and getting the sexual arousal out of that process. And there's also a piece of enjoying the anticipation of fear. Oh, somebody missed the beginning of what CBT stands for. Cockballtorture, okay? Not cognitive behavioral therapy, all right? And this is in the frame of BDSM and kink and consensual. It's all consensual, right? You don't just go around randomly doing it. It has to be consensual. Consensual. Ask and receive, okay? Because if you don't get consent, then it's abusive and assault, all right? Just so that we're clear. All right, where was I? Okay, so those are some of the exchange reasons. Those are some of the benefits, or so those are some of the major reasons of why people lean into it and why people enjoy it on a sexually arousing space. So let's talk about safety. Cockballtorture safety. This is really, really important. So before I started to explore CBT, the first thing I did, because I'm all about safety, 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 safety. I'm all about short-term injury, but not about long-term injury. So where was I? Oh yes, okay. So the first thing I did was make sure that I went to my massage therapist, who is fabulous, by the way. And I'm trying to convince him to come on the show and have like a monthly or bi-monthly show where you can ask him all sorts of questions about anatomy and injuries and stuff like that. But you will have to wait until the fall. I'm working on it. So anyway, so I go to my massage therapist and I'm like, hey, so what am I allowed to do with the balls and the testicles and the scrotum and the penis? And like, what can I do and what can't I do? And my massage therapist is awesome. He's laughing. He's like, why? What are you planning? I'm like, well, I don't know. I haven't planned anything yet. I just need to know what's safe and what's not safe. How far can I take it? What do I need to, be aware of and things like that. So he gave me a huge, beautiful anatomy lesson on the ins and outs of what you can and what you can't do, how you can do it, and the safety of all of those things. So I want to pass on. Now, it's a big thing. So again, if you're going to get into this and you really want to get into this and you want to get into this on a little bit more of extreme level, then you really want to make sure that you get an anatomy lesson from me. Come visit me in some capacity so that, what was I going to say now? Oh, so that you can come visit me in some capacity and we can have a conversation about getting you the proper tools that you need to know, right? Okay, so what was I saying now? Oh, all right, so let's go about safety. Safety. So the first thing is that if you've been watching porn, and a lot of CBT porn, there's like these, stilettos, and there's these like, that's a no-no. Never, ever, ever, ever step on any party's body with a stiletto, because you can do puncture, you can do damage, and you can do long-term damage that can't be fixed, okay? So no stilettos. You can fake it so that it looks like you're going to stomp on the penis or the testicles with the heel of your stiletto, but you actually can't. No puncturing, no. And I wouldn't even like touch it, because if you fall over, bam, what happens? You impale. Like, it's not okay, right? Not safe. So if you're using shoes, unfortunately, I would go with, like, you know, combat boots. No sharp pointies, okay? That's the first rule of CBT safety. Even though visually we see it in porn, and that's part of the arousal response. Okay, that's no pointy. The second thing is that when the penis is flaccid, soft, you can apply a lot of pressure. It's like squishy, and you can step on it, and you can, step on it, and it can apply your whole body weight, and that's fine. It won't do any damage. But as soon as the penis starts to get hard, you can hurt the penis. You can break the penis. You can break blood vessels. There's all sorts of things you can happen, right? So as soon as the penis starts to get hard, stop stepping on it. That's another rule, safety rule, okay? The third thing is, it's really important, is that when it comes to the testicles, you really want to make sure that you're not tugging on them too much, because if you pull too fast, too hard, they can tear away from the body. And that's not okay. Again, danger. So if you're going to, you want to do some squeezing of the testicles and, kind of, holding them firmly, that's okay. That's an all right thing to do, is you kind of grab the testicles and you slowly, and everything you want to look at it is you do it slowly. No quick and sudden things. This will help to prevent injuries, okay? So you're just going to grab them, squeeze them. Again, no puncture. So no nails in them, right? We want to look like it's going to be fear-based stuff, but we don't actually want to do. Like I said, short-term pain is okay, long-term pain is bad. All right. You can grab the testicles and stretch out the scrotum so you have more stability, and then you can slap the balls with your hand, with a wooden spoon. But again, you want to start with like soft, not intense, all right? Not like whack, right? And you can build up the endurance and build up the pain threshold, all right? Now, so those are the big ones that you want to start exploring. If you're gonna, there's a lot of scenes around being kicked in the balls. Like, that's a huge sort of like arousal response a lot of times. You can look like you're going for like to wind up, and you're like really gonna huff them in the balls. You can look like that, but then you pull up short. So you're just like, instead of like, you're just like, you look like you're doing it, and you pull up short, and you're like, ding. It gets the adrenaline, it gets the arousal response without doing any damage. All right. Does anybody, those are the big ones. You can pull, like you said, you can damage the testicles, because the testicles are, they're not firmly in there. They're not touched by like there's not a lot of like oomph. So again, no sharp tugging on them. If you're going to use weights and stuff, I wouldn't go extreme. I would just do slight weights, and slow. Same with the penis. Like, it can be ripped off of the body, which can cause serious damage. So you just got to be like, you can be mean, but without being extreme. And if you want to be appear to be extreme is appearing to be extreme. The other good thing around CBT, and this is my personal favorite, because then I don't have to really worry about like long-term damage, is electric play. Zapping them, zapping the balls, zapping the penis, zapping, zap, 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 zap. Zzz, zzz. That's also, it's incredibly intense. It's incredibly painful without, worrying about injuries, long-term injuries. So those are some of my tips. And again, if you're wanting to get into this and you're feeling like, oh, I need some more support, you can find me at empressgaia.com and we can have a conversation. We may be able to have a training session, all sorts of possibilities there. Okay. One thing, actually, I was having a conversation with the same massage therapist yesterday while I was getting massage, and he was saying to me that for all of the penis owners who are going to be on the receiving end of the CBT, that something that you can do to create more resilience and more stability is to be doing your kegels, to strengthening that whole area. It'll help prevent any long-term damage from happening by strengthening that area. I mean, it's just like anywhere else. I mean, if you're gonna go run a marathon, you don't just start by running a marathon. You train your body to endure. A lot of BDSM play that's extreme needs to be trained. You need to train your body, right? So as you're training your body, that will help. Okay. So doing your kegels, if you're like, well, what's a kegel? You're going to squeeze the whole genital area and you want to suck in the testicles and you want to move your penis so that it dances up and down. Okay. You want to be moving the whole genital region. Not using your ab muscles. You're not using your stomach muscles. You're using your genital area. So you can squeeze your anus, you can squeeze the perineum, you can squeeze all of that. And as you squeeze and hold, you exhale and relax and push your anus out a little bit so that it's full relaxation. And then you breathe in, squeeze, hold, exhale, and relax. So everybody, let's do this together while you're listening to me. If you have a penis, do all the penis parts. If you have a vagina, do all the vagina parts, okay? So whatever genitals you got, let's squeeze them together, all right? But the key is that when we squeeze, we want to be able to hold them because that's where that creates more endurance, okay? So here we go. Breathing in, squeeze, hold, exhale, relax, push your anus out. Let's do 2 more of those together. Breathe in, squeeze, hold, exhale, and relax. And 1 more. Breathe in, squeeze, hold, exhale, and relax, and push out. Now, there's some fantastic Kegel apps that will do randomly remind you. Like there's a whole bunch of cool apps. So go find one that resonates with you, that, you're like, okay, yes, this will remind me to do my Kegels. Because the more Kegeling you do throughout the day, the stronger your body will be for not only just CBT, there's all sorts of other benefits. It prevents erectile dysfunction, ejaculation mastery, prevents prolapse. That's the vaginas. It prevents, they've said that it helps with preventing prostate issues, and there's all sorts of benefits outside of just, being able to do CBT without any long-term damage. So, all right, that's our show today. Does anybody have any questions? I'll open up the floor to anybody. Anybody have any questions? No? All right. So here are some of the ways that you can spend time with me. So if you really enjoyed this episode, and of course you did, and you learned so many awesome new things, please support my Patreon. All right. My Patreon is like, this is a way in which you can support me to continue to show up for you guys. All right. It's like a win-win, and there's all sorts of, bonus content, and you get all sorts of other ways in which you can more deeply engage and interact with me. So it supports me where I can support you, okay? Second, you can find me on all the social media platforms under Gaia Morrissette and Empress Gaia. For all your BDSM wellness and education needs, you can visit me at empressgaia.com. For all of your sexual wellness needs, you can visit me at succulentliving.com. Don't forget to follow my Orgasmic Life podcast on all of the podcasting platforms: Spotify, Apple, Google, Spreaker, you name it, I'm everywhere. And I also have an app that you can download from Google Play Store called My Orgasmic Life. So you can have me with you everywhere, all times. Easy access. You just push, like, oh, I feel like a Gaia moment. And you just push, and then you listen to me. Who doesn't want that? And then I think that's it. Anything else? Tickle.life. So today's episode was brought to you by Tickle.life. Also, I'm the host of Tickle.life's podcast. So if you're looking for another interesting and unique podcasting experience, go check out Tickle.life, where I interview experts and I find out about their personal lives, their sex lives, their relationships. So go check out Tickle.life podcast that you can find in all the places that you can find My Orgasmic Life. All right. Mwah! Love you. That's it. That's all. Thanks for hanging out. Bye-bye.